Hey guys, it's me again. I'm gonna try this video on the art of accepting compliments, round two. Like I was saying, this is kind of a Motivation Monday post or a Mindset Monday. This is something that I observe a lot and that I'm really passionate about. I think this is not talked about enough. The art of accepting compliments is a skill that everyone should be taught from childhood, and clearly no one is. And I want to tell you a little bit more about what I'm talking about. So, oftentimes what I observe, sometimes in the gym, sometimes out in the world in social situations, is that someone will give another person a compliment. Say there are two women at the gym and one says to the other, "You have really great legs." And almost inevitably, the person being complimented will take that compliment and they will say, "No, I don't," or "Look at something else that sucks about me," or "No, you have really great legs." And I think all of these are actually really terrible responses, and I want to tell you why. The thing about compliments is that when someone else compliments you, it's really easy to feel like that person has just done you a favor you didn't want them to do. And what that looks like is sometimes I think of it like if someone had poured you a glass of water and offered it to you and then you refused it because you didn't want to be a burden. But the thing is, the water's already poured, right? We think that we're kind of doing someone a favor, that we're being self-deprecating, maybe in a good way, or humble by not accepting compliments. But what that ultimately amounts to is throwing that compliment back in the other person's face. What you're saying to them, besides the fact that you maybe don't like yourself, is that you don't think they have great taste. If someone says, "I love your haircut," and you say, "Oh, no, it's horrible, it's frizzy, blah, blah, blah," then what you're telling them is that they don't know anything. And so even though it may seem like a nice thing to do to toss back a compliment, it actually kind of hurts the person you're talking to. Another way that this can go down is oftentimes someone will give a compliment, and in order to kind of deflect without saying, "No, I don't like that thing," or "No, I don't have that thing," is the person being complimented will say, "Oh, no, I like your thing." Oh, they say, "You have a great, I love your sweater," or something like that, right? And the person, "Hey, Danielle," and the person that they're talking to will say, "Oh, I love your shoes," or what have you, which is nice. You think that you're being nice, that you're handing them back the compliment, but this is actually sort of social regifting. You can't take someone's compliment and then give it back to them, because that feels very insincere, that you've just rushed to find something to like about them now that they like you. Instead, there are a couple of ways that I think are really good for handling compliments. One thing that you can do is oftentimes when someone makes a compliment, what they really want is to start a conversation with you. So start a conversation with them. Say, "Oh, you like my sweater? Let me tell you where I got it." Or, "I just got this in 3 different colors because I love it so much." All of those are ways of accepting the compliment as the social overture that it is, and being friendly in return. Another thing you can do with a compliment that I think works really well is you can use it to ask a question of the other person. So they say, I really like your shoes," and you say, "Great, I just got them here. Do you usually wear flat shoes like this, or do you prefer heels?" Or something like that. It doesn't have to be anything, I just made that up off the top of my head, but it just kind of, again, accepts the compliment for the social overture that it is and tries to make it fun for the other person. So those are a few of the ways that you can do that. Another thing I want to point out, and this is really, really important, is that not all compliments have to be accepted. Specifically, I'm thinking about some compliments directed at women are actually forms of catcalling. Right? So when someone says, I don't even want to imitate it, but we all know what catcalling sounds like. And when some stranger that you don't know yells a compliment at you, maybe from a car as they're passing by, or is using a compliment to make you feel uncomfortable, that's not a situation where you have to accept it necessarily. But I want to give you guys some homework to try for the week. Maybe every single time someone gives you a compliment, here's what you're going to do. 3 things. 1, pause. Don't talk. 2, say thank you. And 3, pause again. This last pause is actually really important. I learned this trick in Toastmasters from a friend of mine. Sorry, I know the video's a little shaky right now. I learned this trick in Toastmasters, and this is something that conveys so much confidence and just makes you look totally suave. What they told me is that when you're speaking on stage, after the applause comes, you stay on stage and you drink up the applause. It's often something we do. We try to rush off and not give people time to praise us. But when you stay there and you accept the praise and you just drink it in, you really give people a moment to appreciate you. And I think that there's a secret little switch this flips in your mind, that maybe you start to appreciate yourself more as well. That there's an act of self-love in saying, "You like me? I like me too. Thank you. We're cool," right? So after you get a compliment, you're going to pause, say thank you, pause again, and then we can let the conversation continue as it will. I want you to try this with every compliment that you receive for a week. Just accept all of them, again, except catcalling and things like that. Just accept all of them and see what happens. See if you feel different about what it means to accept a compliment. Maybe it will feel less arrogant, a little less like a pretentious thing to do to accept a compliment. You might feel better about it. And I want to see what you think the other person is thinking when it happens. Oftentimes, we worry about what someone will think of us if we're the sort of person that accepts a compliment. And I want to see if anyone actually gets upset about this for you, or if people respond well, maybe they will notice right away that you're behaving more confidently. So that's your homework for the week. Accept all compliments, and then also, of course, still feel free to give some of your own. Just don't do the conversational regifting thing. Make sure that those are genuine compliments, and see how they work as conversation starters when you give them to others. How do people respond to your compliments? So that's all I've got for you. Happy Mindset Monday, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with another one of these videos. Take care.